I have linked up this website for you so that you are able to click in the Google Classroom for today and get to the website right here. But I wanted to talk you through it a little bit first. So, this is, you'll have to scroll down a bit on the website to find this. This text, these 2 paragraphs, tell you in words an explanation of what a phase change is. We've talked about the states of matter, mostly solid, liquid, and gas. So when you change from a solid to a liquid, or a liquid to a solid, or a solid to a gas, or a gas to a liquid, or a gas to a solid, that is called changing phase. And we're going to be investigating that more in the days to come. So, what are states of matter? They're the different organization of particles and their energy. So the molecules in solids are organized differently and have different energy than molecules in a liquid. And they have differences from molecules in gases as well. The main factors that cause phase changes are changes in temperature and pressure. At the phase transition, so at the place where you are changing from a liquid to a solid, like the boiling point, that's when you get between liquids and gas phases. When you're at that point, the 2 states of matter have identical free energies and are equally likely to exist. That part you don't have to worry about much, but it's kind of interesting to think about. There's a list of key phase changes between solids, gases, liquids, and plasma. As 5th graders in Michigan, do we have to worry about plasma being a phase? No, we do not. So we'll be ignoring that. So there are 6 phase changes between solids, liquids, and gases. Those are the ones we're after. So it tells you how many we need to focus on. There are additional phase changes if you explore condensed matter physics or metallurgy. Do you suppose 5th graders in Michigan need to do that? Nope. All right, so then you are responsible for getting this list into your science folder. Don't start copying yet. I want you to go to the website on your own anyway. I want to first go through with you, though, which ones you're going to need. So, if melting is when you go from a solid to a liquid, do we need it? Yes, you must have melting. What about freezing? That's when you go from a liquid to a solid. Absolutely. You must include, whoa, that's a bad circle. You must include freezing on your science folder page that you're going to do. Vaporization or evaporation. We use the word evaporation more as regular people, and so that's what I want you to use. And yep, it's going from a liquid to a gas. We've talked about that, so you must include evaporation. Condensation is when molecules go from being a gas back to being a liquid that you can see and touch. Yes, you must include condensation. Deposition. This is not nearly as familiar, but that's what it's called when you go from a gas directly to a solid. I do want you to record that. Sublimation is when you go direct from a solid to a gas. So very often we think of a liquid as a step between solids and gases, but deposition and sublimation do happen. And so it is important to learn them. So those 6 you are going to need to include. An easier way of looking at it is you need the information on 1 through 6 in your folder. Whoa. And you also need to note that it's a phase change. And yes, you do need to include which phase you start at and go to in that process of change. So it's sort of like a sequence. It's not cause and effect. The solid doesn't cause the liquid. You start as a solid and you go to a liquid if you melt. With that, then, this is what I want you to pay even more attention to. So, see if I can get rid of that. Good. This chart is something similar to what I want you to have. I do not want you to include plasma, so that you'll get rid of. Don't include any of that. But I do want you to include gas with an illustration. The fact that when you go from a gas to a liquid, it is called condensation. And when you go from a liquid to a gas, it's called, do I want you to use vaporization? No, I want you to use evaporation. And then when you go from a solid to a gas, that is called sublimation. When you go from a gas to a solid, that is deposition. When you go from a solid to a liquid, that is called melting. When you go from a liquid to a solid, that is called freezing. I want you to have all of these phase changes. I'd like illustrations. Yours do not have to look exactly like theirs. But you must also include, here we go. You must also include this information as well. 1 through 6. You need a list like this somewhere on the same page. Now, I'm not telling you how to organize it because that is entirely up to you, but it should take 1 full page of paper for this information to be on there. That's your assignment for today. Take time, put color, put explanations. If there are any that you are most likely to forget, do a little something to help yourself remember them. Make sure that you don't just copy this real quick, have no details, no color, and expect to get full credit for the assignment. Time and effort are important. They will help the information to stick in your brain, which is what we're after. That's called learning.